to stats to placing bets in a couple of taps. Stream games, bet live, and get exclusive offers when you link your ESPN account. Right now, you can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The Braves roll into the 2025 season with a singular focus. Bring home the division title and remind the league what Atlanta is all about.
Swung on, driven to left center field and deep. That baby's out of here. Austin Riley. Trio to Olsen. And he powers one. Deep right center field to the wall. It's gonna fly. It's a home run. Back-to-back homers.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well-trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Is your concrete sinking? Whether it's your driveway, sidewalk, or patio, those uneven surfaces are not just ugly, they're dangerous. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They use state-of-the-art concrete lifting solutions to prevent tripping hazards, and they're the best at what they do. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There you go. We're back. We're live. We are brand new. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond. Welcome in on a Monday morning. We are live from Bill Penney Toyota. Their doors are open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then on Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines. You can join us for the next 2 hours here on a Monday as we get you started. Don't forget, though, if you are in the mood or in the need for tires, you can head on out here to Bill Penney Toyota. You buy 3, you get that fourth one for $1. That deal is going on till April 30th here at Bill Penney Toyota. We've got a lot of stuff to get through over the next 2 hours. Obviously, the Masters teed up, takes center stage for the last 4 days. And what a beautiful scene it was at Augusta National, especially yesterday. And if you had the the chance to watch a little bit of it, it was theater at its finest. At 4:38, Rory McIlroy and Justin Rose, they were tied atop the leaderboard, and how they got there was just unexplainable. At 5:51 or 4:51, I should say, Justin Rose was up by 1 stroke. At 4:57, we had a 3-way tie. At 5:10, probably the greatest 7-iron Rory McIlroy has ever hit. That finds a way to the green on number 15. At 5:14, a 20-foot birdie putt from Rose puts him back on the lead in the 18th. At 5:53, Rory McIlroy missed a birdie on 18. Then we go to the playoffs. But Rory McIlroy finally has his green jacket.
He has the career Grand Slam. I mean, after what happened on 13 and 14, when he lost his 4-shot lead, and before you knew it was down a stroke to Justin Rose, things looked a little bleak there. No doubt about it. It was. I was a little bit worried that he may have missed on his opportunity, that he had let Rose right back in it. But I thought, honestly, on holes 15, 16, and 17, he played really good golf. He had himself with a 1-stroke lead, then a really nice tee shot on 18, and then the second shot on the par 4, man, just a little bit of tough luck where he, by inches ends up in the bunker. But it wasn't a tough up and down. I mean, like a horrible lie.
Yeah.
And it was a nice chip, and then it was just really by inches missing the putt that would have won him the Masters without it in regulation. But I thought, he showed a lot of mental toughness, first of all, to overcome the double bogey on 13 and then the bogey on 14, because he had 2 bogeys and 2 doubles on the day.
Yeah, well, he started out of the gates with a double on hole number 1, right out of the gates. He has a double, and Bryson DeChambeau was in this in the beginning. The first 4 or 5 holes, Bryson DeChambeau, he was right there. And it was he and Rory McIlroy going back and forth. The lead had changed. We had 2 two-stroke swings right out of the gates. I mean, it was theater.
Yeah, it was. But the back 9, that was some of the best you're going to see. And then Rory coming back from 13 and 14 and really putting himself in solid position to win was really, I thought a testament to his mental toughness and grit. And then to have, the heartbreak on the 18, where I didn't think he played poor golf. It's just some – and then, first of all, let me give Justin Rose credit for sticking that birdie putt on 18. I mean, he stuck a long birdie putt to put the pressure on, a Rory, because that made him – that tied him at 11 under at the time. Rory then took a 1-stroke lead, but still Rory knew what he had to do on 18. He had to at least par the hole, which he did not. And then they replayed 18, and it was interesting. Rory's tee shot was a little better than the one that he had just hit a few moments ago, and then the shot of his life. I mean, that second shot,
7,
and hey,
that's 7-iron from
Justin Rose had done a great job to put himself in position to, as you saw, it was going to be at worst a 2-putt if in a par, but he still had another birdie putt similar to what he'd already made. So he put the pressure on, Rory, and Rory came through gangbusters. You end up with a 3-foot putt basically for your first green jacket. He did it. It took 11 years, but, he's the 6th guy to ever have the career Grand Slam. And that's so Hall of Fame worthy when you see the list of guys that the 5 before him. I mean,
Gene Sarazen, Ben Hogan, Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, and Tiger Woods. Yep. The first player. So he and Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods, are the only 2 to have achieved a Grand Slam since 1990 or since 1966. Only 2 men have achieved a career
Tiger
Grand
did
Slam
25 years ago.
Yeah,
so it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, it's
history.
Yes. And for Rory McIlroy, though, I mean, he has had so many misses, not just at the Masters. Let's go back to 2011. He had a final round 80 in 2011. The Sunday 74 in 2018. Cameron Smith stole the Open Championship from him at St. Andrews. He couldn't catch Wyndham Clark in the 23 U.S. Open. Remember those 2 missed short putts at Pinehurst? Bryson DeChambeau snagged the U.S. Open last June. I mean, there have been so many misses for Rory McIlroy along the way. And I tell you what, CBS, kudos to CBS, Jim Nantz, and that whole production staff. He makes that putt on the playoff hole. Jim Nantz says, yes, you get the green jacket, but they went almost 7 minutes without a word spoken on the broadcast yesterday, just letting the sights and sounds speak for themselves. That's why the Masters is by far and above the best golf tournament to watch.
Well, during the whole, especially the back 9, Jim Nantz did a great job of setting the stage and giving people background on Rory McIlroy's story and the way he grew up in Northern Ireland, and that he was a golf prodigy, and that this was kind of what his parents had envisioned for him, and letting everybody know that his parents weren't there. They were watching, and it was about midnight in Northern Ireland as they're watching him try to put this away. And it's a very emotional time. And again, that's kind of what you have to do a lot of times in events like this, and the Masters, World Series, championship moments, in whatever sport it is, basketball, baseball, football. A lot of times when it's over, you make the final call, but then in those moments afterwards, many times until you sit down with the guy and get some reaction a few minutes later, you do just kind of let the stage set itself. Yeah. You just kind of you take in all the emotion that Rory had. And as Jim pointed out after, it was over, and we're looking at the highlights here at Bill Penney, look, this is historic. And, and it was a very authentic reaction from Rory, because he'd had opportunities, but it's very tough to win, all the majors. Like we said, it's only happened 6 times where you've been able. Now, and Tiger did the most amazing thing. I think when he did his 25 years ago, and I can't believe it's been 25 years. I want to say he had the career, like the career Grand Slam, but he had it within a calendar year of each other. Yeah. In other words, he was the defending champion in all 4 majors, which is just mind-boggling. And that's 5 majors now for Rory. He's in rarefied air. He's 35 years old. But now that he's gotten this kind of off of his back, because like he even admitted afterwards, it was very emotional, and he wondered if, with some of the other missed opportunities he'd had, is it ever going to happen? Yeah. But nothing's easy. And it's almost like it made it even more worth it the way, as we were looking right here, the way he had to fight through this. And he becomes the first Masters champion to ever win the tournament with 4 double bogeys during the 4 rounds, because he had 2 of them on in round 4, but he had 2 others during the 4 days. He's the first ever to do that. And that's pretty amazing, to be honest with you, to be able to show that kind of, fortitude and mental toughness. Because I'm not going to lie, when what happened on 13 and 14 and his lead evaporated just like that, I'm starting to think of Jean Van de Velde in the British Open. I mean, you probably remember that, where he got stuck in the berm, man. And you just start thinking, oh, man, is this going to be like an implosion? But it certainly wasn't. And I do think Rory, that there was one good facet to it. Since it happened on 13 and 14, he had, the golf tournament is not over. And you're still the worst it was he was down a stroke, but for much of it, he was tied. And so you saw what you had to do in front of you. It's not like all of a sudden it goes from you're tied or 1 stroke ahead to 3 or 4 strokes behind. You still got the golf tournament in your hands if you can steady yourself. Yeah. And I thought that was big for him, because Justin Rose was ahead of him. You knew what you were going to see what Justin Rose did and finished, and you were going to have about 3 holes to play. Well, you knew what you had to do to beat him, and it basically and he was able to do that. It was a pretty amazing stuff, just a great theater.
Well, for 72 holes, 68 of those that Rory McIlroy played this weekend was some of the best golf ever played at Augusta National, ever. 68 holes, he played in 19 under par. And 1 stroke, that's 1 stroke off Dustin Johnson's Masters record of 20 under from the 2020 Masters. But as you mentioned, he had some of those double bogey moments throughout the round. There were some near misses this week as well. If you go back to it on Friday on the 13th hole, a 200-yard shot out of the pine straws just barely carries the ridge over both Rays Creek. He ends up with an eagle. On 15 on Saturday, a 6-iron, impossibly high into the air, I mean over the water, sticks it on the green for another eagle. There were some chances that Roy just could have gone south, but held it together.
Yep,
now we can go out there and we can break this down a little bit more with our good friend.
Yeah, we with our golf analyst from Plot Performance. I was texting with him yesterday. I mean, this was just tremendous theater. And I'm not a diehard golf guy, but everybody loves the Masters. And to watch a guy like Rory, who's a good dude, one of the best dudes in golf, do this and accomplish this, it was just riveting stuff. And it wasn't easy. I remember 97 when I was watching, Tiger destroy the course and he set the course record. And it was just basically the whole last round was how big a route is this going to be? But this was not that case. This was high drama and high in great theater. And we're going to talk to Charlie Plott about this right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Charlie, what a Masters this was, man. Great, great stuff.
It's better than reality TV. Oh, wait, it
a
was
lot
reality TV. It was real reality.
It really was.
Oh, it was good.
No doubt.
I got introduced to a kid named Rory McIlroy, not personally, but through a client who was playing golf at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. His name's Jonathan Hodge. And Jonathan, back in the early 2000s, qualified for the U.S. Amateur. It was played at Hazeltine up in Minnesota. Jonathan made match play, won a couple of matches, and called me up and said, man, I played some absolutely great golf today and got my ass kicked. And I was like, what in the world are you talking about? And he said, even par was usually going to win your match.
Right.
And he goes, I was 4 under through 11 or 12 holes.
Wow.
And the match ended there because some little kid shot like 9 under on the round and just dog stomped him. And it was a 16-year-old Rory McIlroy.
Oh, wow.
He goes, some little Irish kid.
Uh-oh.
And, you saw that yesterday. I had everybody's out of town, and Taylor, my oldest, came over and watched golf with me. And I said, he is the greatest worst player or the worst greatest player. I'm not real sure which one it is I've ever seen, because it was the greatest golf I'd ever seen intermixed with the worst golf I'd ever seen. A bunch of us who aren't any good could be put in some of the places Rory was and not make double bogey. And, he just continued to do that. But the resilience, it just spoke to the mental toughness that he had, but it would come breaking through. You would see the emotion come breaking through, and he would fall apart, and then it would bounce back and fall apart and bounce back and fall apart. It was the most fascinating golf I'd ever watched.
Yeah. And Charlie, you've had to deal with clients that on the mental side just cannot win that one thing that they want to win. And that was the Masters for Rory. He had come so close. He had so many moments, but then it's come Sunday and everything would just come crashing down on him. The pressure of winning this one was the last one that he had. This was it. There was pressure on him. Make no mistake about it. How is someone able to overcome that?
He attributed a lot of maturity, and that he won at a young age, set a really high standard, and people just expected it. And this is a golf course that sets up for him. He can, obviously, if you watched it, saw him work the ball both ways, but people who tend to hit high draws or can do that on command play really, really well at Augusta, and that fits Rory's game. But it's also a course that demands absolute precision in your short game, which has been a bugaboo for him. And it just demanded so much, and so much was expected. And then it becomes this story. They kept putting up on the screen, well, it took this guy one time to have the career Grand Slam in front of him and win it. Oh, well, it took Tiger 3. You know, it took this person 3. It took Rory 11 opportunities to complete the career Grand Slam. And every year it just kept mounting and mounting. One of my other kids made the comment, oh, Bryson will just feed off the gallery and the gallery will be all around him. And I feel sorry for Rory. And I'm like, you don't understand. Rory feeds off the crowd and the crowd loves Rory. And it would have been fascinating to see him and Bryson head to head, but it was clear. I've never seen a crowd hang around for so long just going nuts after a victory at Augusta. Maybe they showed more of it, but it took him forever to get off the golf course. And the crowd's just chanting and chanting. This was, I think, one of the most emotional victories I've ever seen. And I've witnessed Crenshaw winning with a 10-year gap in between his Masters victories. The weekend after his instructor died at 96, 97 years old. And it was just a pure emotional win. And it was huge. I've never seen anything like what Rory did. And I just can't believe a golf course is so good at delivering drama like Augusta National. Year after year, it just does it. And you see people have collapses. And I thought it was over right at the start. I thought, well, this is going to be Bryson running the table. And, you know, 3 holes later, it all flipped back around. And then it flips back around. And over
like a roller coaster ride, man.
Well, Charlie, I mean, from the beginning, if you're watching the Masters and if you pay attention to golf, at the beginning, this was almost like the PGA versus the Live Tour. With Bryson and Rory going at it in the beginning, I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be the Live versus PGA. If Bryson's able to hang on, you're going to see Live commercials. That's going to come after because that's what it felt like. And then Bryson just kind of, you know, he can't hold on. Justin Rose nearly comes from, I mean, he was one of these guys that he was tracking. I mean, he was in the back, in the middle, coming in to start the round, starts getting hot, ends up in a playoff. But at first, this was PGA versus Live.
It was, and it was funny. I looked at my phone last night, and at 11:30 in the morning, I texted Justin and said, "I think my dark horse is Oberg." And he was right in Justin Rose's shadow coming up, but he had so many lip outs that would have had him in that place. And then, of course, he blows up at the end.
Yes, he did.
It's just an amazing, amazing place that has that sort of stage where it's either going to be eagle or double, like on 13. You saw both of them happening. And it just kept coming and coming. I credit Rory. Afterwards, he said, it's a lot of maturity. I was a young, naive kid when I won all that stuff earlier, and life has handed him a lot, and a lot of really tough things. And a lot of people don't know about that. It stays in the background. There's been relationship issues, health issues, all sorts of things. And he's just a determined fellow. And I think this stands as a testament to the fact that you keep trying and you keep trying and you keep trying. He didn't need this financially. He didn't need this for any other reason than filling out the resume and putting himself down as one of the top 10 golfers of all time. His talent level is that, but that is a huge distraction. And I talk to clients about this all the time. Playing good is a distraction. Playing bad is a distraction. The crowd is a distraction. Being an extrovert that feeds off of what other people tell you and their expectations. Rory made numerous comments after it was over about feeling the expectations of others, that he needed to do this for them. And then the thing that I thought, and I don't know how many people saw this afterwards, but he's walking from 18 up to the clubhouse and all of that process. All these English and Irish golfers were lined up. And it wasn't just the golfers coming up. It wasn't just Shane Lowry just loving on him like crazy. Then it's Shane's wife. You know, it wasn't just Justin Rose. It was Justin Rose's wife. And you start realizing the community and how much love there is. And I think that's what's been the burden to Rory, is he felt like it was his destiny to be in that list of people with career Grand Slams. And it wasn't just me playing. It was me and my family. It was me and all these Irish folks. It's me and all these European golfers. And then you've had that family split up as people went to live and people stayed on the European tour and the U.S. tour. And you look at it when he's leaving, it was a social event. And I think that is the evidence of what was going on inside of him, that you had these dozens and dozens of people who are sharing this moment and knowing this was the final climax to something that's been hanging on for 11 years. Will we go and see the most amazing golf from Rory at this point? I could make a case for yes, or I could make a case for he takes a deep breath and he becomes average for a little while. But I'm hoping that we just see talent unleashed like we've never seen before. The PGA is at Quail Hollow in a month, a little more than a month, which is the site of his first U.S. Tour win, and he has played incredibly well at Quail Hollow. He could turn around and follow it up with the PGA. It would not be unusual. He loves the golf course.
Well, you know, we're talking to Charlie Plot Performance, talking Masters, but you talked about talent as well that being showcased. But Justin Rose, 2 straight runner-ups in the last 2 majors, so he is still coming, and this could be even a sign that he's got great things to come. And then I've been waiting to say this, but I was working on it last night as I was watching the last round. But Ludwig Oberg, I know he came apart, at the very end of the round, but I mean, just 15, 20 minutes before, he was putting for the lead. So this is a young guy that's got a lot of potential down the road.
Boy, he is a cool customer, seems comfortable in this role, has a game suited for this golf course. I believe that he'll be wearing a green jacket at some point. He's only played there a few times and has played well. He so easily could have had it on the front 9 and been in the lead. He would hit fabulous shot. He hit one on 4 that is a monstrous par 3. Stiffed it, had it lip out. Then he lips out on another hole and lips out on another hole. And so you look at the front 9 and he shoots 2 or 3. I think he shot 2 under on the front, but it easily could have been 3 or 4 under, and he would have been the lead guy. He would have been ahead of Justin Rose. He would have been ahead of all these guys that were challenging from behind. I think his time is coming. Rose, he may be the oldest man to win the Masters for his first time, because I believe he's 44.
Wow.
So he has a game suited to that golf course, and just obviously is one that keeps being in the top 10 and can't ever finish it off. I think it'll be a fitting event when he does it. But it's just so hard to be there and keep putting yourself there. Golf is such a random sport in that regard. You can have the best of breaks and and the worst of breaks, and literally it happens a few inches from one thing and another, as you were referencing earlier with Rory. I mean, he hit shots that we look back and don't think anything about, but they were inches from disaster and turned out good. That's the nature of that golf course. By the way, as soon as Patrick Reed hit his shot into 17, I screamed to Taylor, "That's going in." And
that was crazy.
And it goes in. Taylor goes nuts. And then, as some know, Spike's son married my niece, and so there's a group chat with all the kids, and apparently Spike called that one in midair as well. I thought that was funny.
Nice.
Here's somebody that hadn't been on the radar in a long time, and not one of the most favorite golfers around. But he contended, and I thought that was really, really interesting to see him playing that well again.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, what an entertaining Masters it was. That is for sure. It'll go down as a great one, and it's hard to believe that it's come and gone. Four great days of golf, though.
It was tremendous.
Great. It was great.
And honestly, you talked about Reed's shot on 17. Yep. If a couple of shots had gone differently, that might have been one of the all-timers, Charlie. It just happened to be that. Yeah, I mean, it was because I know I kind of jumped up. I was like, "Did that go in?" I couldn't believe it either. I was like, "Where'd it go? What a shot!"
One bouncing in the bottom of the hole.
Right.
Yeah, he had his opportunities on a few holes earlier that could have been a shot that tied or took the lead. And there were so many remarkable shots. Guys, it's always great being able to share this stuff with you. And Drew, just to get you in that golf world one or two times a year is awesome.
No, it was great stuff. I certainly enjoyed it. I was riveted and glued to it. Well, Charlotte, we appreciate it. Let everybody know how to connect with you and what you guys have going on at Plot Performance.
Well, we're rocking and rolling with lots and lots of stuff. Had a client overcome a lot of hurdles this weekend and finished second in a large junior tournament, and exercised some back nine demons, just kind of like what you saw yesterday. You can reach us 256-509-2636. Text me, call me. We can improve your game. We can improve your life. Not only working with young golfers, we got older folks. We have professionals in the business world that we work with to improve performance.
Well, thank you, Charlie. It was great stuff,
Charlie.
And great insight, man. Great story about Rory as well. Thank you.
Thank you all. You have a great week.
All right, let's get a break in. It's Bill Penney Toyota. This is where we're at. Talking Ball is what you're listening to. It's 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Good morning. Got one wreck working. This one is 53 in Douglas with some southbound blockage there. Everything else looks good this morning. I don't see any other problems for you. You be careful on your trip in. Definitely put extra room in there so you got someplace to go if something does go wrong around you. You could lose up to 4 sizes in 4 weeks with the 2030 Fast Track Weight Loss Program. Find out more at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penney Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penney perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penney Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penney Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPenneyToyota.com. Bill Penney's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Gunner's Landing is one of the Tennessee Valley's finest golf experiences. Just 35 minutes from downtown Huntsville, Gunner's Landing's 18-hole championship jewel is open to the public 7 days a week. Located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, Gunner's Landing offers you a golf experience like no other. With beautiful Lake Gunnersville views throughout the round, Gunner's Landing is golf the way nature intended. Gunner's Landing's club repair shop offers a full range of services, including re-gripping and adjusting the lofts and lies of your clubs, even putters. Since the work is done in-house, your clubs will be returned to you in a timely manner, unmatched in the North Alabama area. It is Gunner's Landing. Schedule your tee time today at gunnerslanding.com. That's gunnerslanding.com.
Never miss 1 second of Charger baseball with the Charger Zone.
Will Knowles has just given UAH an 8-6 lead. 5 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning against the number 16 team in the country.
Only on 97.7 ESPN.com and the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, 7:34 here on a Monday morning. Tonight is a big night for 12 new inductees as the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame will induct 12 new members this evening inside the VBC's North Hall. Courtney Beasley, former Butler Rebel basketball standout, he's going in. Bobby Lee Hurt is going into the Hall of Fame tonight. Tashika Morris is going in. Israel Raybon, who makes his home here at Bill Penney Toyota now, former UNA Lion, spent some time in the league. He is going in. Dwight Scales is going into the Hall of Fame. Jason Swain, former Grissom Tiger, Tennessee Vol, going into the Hall of Fame. Tom Pruitt, Dale Palmer, former Sparkman softball head coach, going into the Hall of Fame. Jeff McCorvey, he guided Alabama A&M bowling to a runner-up finish, a national runner-up finish as the A&M head Bulldog bowling coach. Carlos Matthews, the late Cecil Hurt going into the Hall of Fame, and Brian Campy going into the Hall of Fame. Motorsports legend Brian Campy going into the Hall of Fame. 12 new inductees. The special recognition going to go out to the Huntsville Havoc for their contributions to the Madison County area over the last 25 years and beyond. So, wow, what a night it'll be tonight. 12 new inductees, a lot of big names on that list.
Yeah, it makes you, and I turned 50 this past Friday, and makes you feel old because I watched just about all those young men and young ladies and those people play their high school, years in the Huntsville, Madison County area and compete, as athletes. They were in a lot of great players from the mid to late 90s, early 2000s. Courtney Beasley helped Butler break through under Jack Doss and get that first state championship, which turned into, about 8 of them there for coach at Butler. Well, I should say 6 because he won 2 at
May Jemison
and won, 5 because he won at May Jemison and then at JO. And then, of course, he won a couple in Birmingham before he came to the Rocket City, but he won the majority of his titles at Butler. But Courtney Beasley was, of course, the best player on the first one, and they beat our good friend Richard Hendricks in Athens in the finals then, and he went on a big-time run, won several state titles at Butler, and again, Courtney Beasley was was at the forefront of that and was such a great player. Went on to be a great player at Southern Mississippi and then played professionally a little bit overseas, and what a career he had for the Butler Rebels. And from the 9th grade on was just kind of ahead of his time, and great to see him go in. Tashika Moore, she was part of the Lady Running Rebels who, for their time at Butler, I mean, they were nationally ranked and just kind of set a new standard there. Just some great talent. Jason Swain, he took Grissom football to the semifinals while he was there, went on to Tennessee and had a really good career for the Vols. So there's a lot of great players in Israel. I mean, we know how good those elite teams were, those football teams he played for Butch Weaver. He went on to become a stalwart at UNA, helped them win 3 in a row. And as you said, playing the NFL, playing the Arena League for a long time. We see him quite a bit. And so it's a great class, no doubt about it. And everybody knows what Cecil Hurt means to me. I mean, as far as career goes, he's my professional hero. Miss him every day. It's just been. I was really sad that he didn't get to see Alabama basketball, which he had such a passion for. To reach the heights that Nate Oates has done, get to the Final Four, get to 2 straight Elite Eights. We always wonder what he would have written in his takes on things, and certainly we had him on the show a lot. But miss him all the time. But very, very, glad to see. And it's a great move that the Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame would induct him, former Grissom grad, Butler grad.
Butler, yes.
His brother is a longtime administrator at Grissom, is what I was thinking of there. But yeah, Cecil was a Butler grad and a Huntsville native, and became arguably the greatest sports writer in our state's history. And great to see them honor him in such a great way.
All right, that'll all happen this evening there inside the North Hall. So it will be a fantastic evening. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines if you want to be a part of the show this morning. And obviously, when we turn our attention to college football, the biggest story that is surrounding college football right now still, and the dust, I guess you could say, is settling a little bit in Knoxville. But that big story is Nico Iamaleava no longer a part of the Vols football program.
Yeah, it's completely Bush League, but it's kind of the environment that we're in right now. And I had heard several months ago, though, by the end of last season, that Nico and Josh Heupel, weren't on the same page. So it didn't come as a complete shock to me after I had heard that I think basically Nico was hard to coach, and I think those around him made it difficult as well. And that environment, the way it's, constructed right now, allows for a lot of people to have access to kids and have a say in where they go and what they make and what they do. And it's tough. I mean,
he wanted more money.
Yeah.
Before the playoffs.
Yeah.
Alabama went through that situation when they were playing Michigan in the Rose Bowl. There were players that wanted more money to play in that game. Nico wanted more money to play against Ohio State in that game.
Yeah. He he had signed one of the richest contracts, if you believe the numbers,
Right.
coming out of high school. Tennessee had made a huge financial commitment to him. He did not deserve more money. None of them do. You've got stories coming out. Josh Pate, I hope that you reach out to him and get him on the show this week. But he told a story on the Josh Pate show yesterday that there was a kid that scored 2 touchdowns in a spring game and came back to his collective wanting $150,000 more for scoring a couple of, who gives a rat's ass touchdowns in an A-day or a spring game or whatever. Yeah. And he wanted more money, $150,000 more because he scored some Brian Steger touchdowns in a meaningless spring game. Because I saw Steger do quite well in some A-day games at Alabama, and he never played much when the games mattered. So I'm just saying, to me, it's ridiculous. You shouldn't be. In professional sports, that's why they need collective bargaining, because once you sign a contract, you're beholden to that. You don't renegotiate it in the middle of a season.
And that's the thing. These contracts in college football are about as worthless as because they're technically. They are a contract, but they're technically not a contract as well, because you can break it and redo it at any time that you want.
Like I heard about Robert Wright from Baylor. He agreed to come back to Baylor for $1 million. Well, then BYU, I guess, contacted his agent, scumbag, whoever the heck is,
representative
representing. Yeah. Maybe it's a legit guy. Maybe it's a Drew Rosenhaus. I don't know, or Jimmy Sexton, or somebody legit. Clutch Sports. Who knows? But I'm just saying they contacted his agency. Most of these agencies I don't think are legit, but but again, they contacted him. BYU did, said, we'll offer $3 million. So he goes into the portal, never been to BYU in his life, agrees to and then commits to BYU, and then goes on the visit to BYU after he's already committed. Okay. And then they offer him 3 times that. So that's what I'm saying. You can just break a contract. From what I understand, Alabama with Mohamed Diabate agreed with him twice, and then his agent kept coming back for more because other schools were certainly coming after him and calling, and Kentucky ends up signing him. Probably they promised him more minutes. Now we'll see if that happens.
Right.
I've already heard of other kids moving on that got promises verbally from coaches that they felt like didn't happen, and then they go in the portal and they end up at another school. So we'll see. It's a lot to deal with, but that's why they've got to be some guardrails put up in these situations. Because now in the NFL, I have heard, for years that when you go to the playoffs as an organization, when you win, you get a share.
There's a bonus.
There's a bonus.
Yes.
They'll probably have bonuses like that going forward. When you win, you get something. But it shouldn't be, pay me more money because now we're playing more games. You're already making, really, really good money. I've already said this. If you make $30,000 while you're in college on a full football scholarship, you should be good. But if you're making 6 digits, you don't deserve more money just because your team made the playoffs. That's BS.
A lot of people around college football are applauding Tennessee because they said, no, we're not going to.
I wouldn't have paid.
We're not going to pay you
Nico money.
We're not going to pay you anymore either. This is it.
I wish everybody else would do the same. I wish his parents and his idiot people around him that are trying to advise him would have egg on their face, because and then if I were another school, I'm not going to offer him more than the 2 and 2.4, because you already know what he's going to do. Well, hey, you're just going to come back to us when you throw 3 touchdowns in a game and be like, I want to renegotiate my deal. Right. We're not doing that.
Right.
I will say this, though.
Well, we know he's not going to an SEC school.
Well, and
without having to sit.
No. But I don't think he wanted to. I think a lot of what was behind this, too, is they had a disconnect with Josh Heupel. And I think they want to go back to the West Coast, too. I don't think they want to stay in the South. And I thought, I think they thought, well, if they'll give us 1.4 million more and give us 4 million, that's fine. But then when does it stop? Like, okay, if you go on, you pay the overrated schmuck, which is what he is, $4 million. Then he goes out and takes Tennessee back to the playoff or wins the national championship. What's he going to do? Come back and say, well, I need 5 million. I need 6. Give me a break, man.
Or what if he has, like, in your case, what is, and you said it too, what if he has a great home? What if he has a great first 2 games and all of a sudden,
he did against Chattanooga. That's where he threw most of his touchdowns against nobodies.
There you go. That's my point. He had a lot of great
throws against Alabama, but if it wasn't for Dylan Sampson, who was the backbone of that team, they don't win. because the kid's a good player. Is he a great player? No. But I also think part of it may have been also maybe his family realizes, well, maybe we're not going to be the number 1 overall pick, and and he had a good, not great year. Well, we're going to try to get while we can, get what we can while we can, and they see revenue sharing coming in. So there's a lot of things that play in it. But to be honest with you, though, most of the time the inner circles around these young men and the parents and the quote unquote agents, whatever, they don't live in reality. They all think everybody that, I've always heard this about, especially about people around quarterbacks. Right. They're always Tom Brady. They're always the next big thing. But I thought Iamaleava was a good player, but I certainly didn't think that. I'll be honest with you. If you had to ask me, Drew, who you taking? You taking Arch Manning or you taking Nico Iamaleava? 10 out of 10 times I'm taking Arch Manning. I'm not taking Nico Iamale overrated. I'm just not. I thought he looked okay last year, and he got him to the playoff. He was a kind of a game manager type. He's athletic. He had good twitch, and then he made some really good throws. But then at times he was a one-read guy, and at times he wasn't the most accurate. Now, some of it was I think he didn't have a great receiver core, but I also think that he wasn't, maybe what they thought he was. And I think this has been brewing for a while. I'm actually surprised it didn't happen right after the season, so to speak, where he wanted to go into the transfer portal in December. Right. But, I guess they wanted to kind of get a feel for things. And, based on what I heard by the end of the season, the regular season into the playoff, and like you just mentioned to the listeners, already wanting more money to play in the playoff. And then he didn't play well against Ohio State. I would have thought this would have happened sooner, but again, we'll see. But I would be very, cautious about signing this kid. I don't think Oregon, and I think that's where it came from. I think Dan Lanning called.
Yeah, there's some reports out there that says Dan Lanning alerted Tennessee. Now, Dan Lanning and the Oregon Ducks had their scrimmage yesterday.
Right.
Or I should say on Saturday that they had their spring game. Lanning was asked after the scrimmage about the situation, and in 5 words said, hey, we're not going to get into any of that. The Oregon Ducks had a great day today, yada, yada. No comment from Dan Lanning about that. But Pete Thamel, I believe others around the college football landscape reported that it was Dan Lanning that had a hand in letting Tennessee know that Nico was shopping his talents around before he even said anything. Well, he never really said anything to Tennessee. He just didn't show up for practice on Friday, and that was –
and wouldn't answer his head coach's phone calls or anybody around the Tennessee program.
So. I mean, that was it. I guess that's a sure tell sign that you're doing.
Yeah, it certainly is.
All right, I tell you what, let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll get out to the phone lines. Yep. Jason is holding. We'll get to your phone calls, and we'll wrap up hour 1 of Talking Ball.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. The scattered showers going to be possible this late Monday night. Low temperatures expected to fall into the upper 50s for most of our Tuesday, though. After the rain ends, we'll start to see plenty of sunshine. High temperatures going to be warming into the upper 60s for the afternoon. Wind gusts could potentially reach as high as 20 miles per hour. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We're still looking at one accident this morning. This is 53 southbound at Douglas. No report of injury there, but I think we may have some blockage on that one. Everything else looks good this morning. I don't see any other problems. You be careful on your trip in. Do you know who to call when you need a heart doctor? You could write the name down now so you have it in the future. Dr. Randall Burns is at Huntsville Heart Specialists on Bob Wallace Avenue. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
The sound of the organ. The crack of the bat.
It is gone.
The sight of watching the ball go over the wall. And the taste of peanuts and Cracker Jacks. There's nothing like it. It's America's pastime. From the first pitch to the final out, you can hear every game right here on your home for Alabama baseball.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead, ran away, and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of 12 world-famous theme parks, Orlando, Florida. With flights starting as low as just $49, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Orlando. Make all their dreams come true. Book nonstop to Orlando now at flybreeze.com.
It's laundry season at Owen Home Appliance Center. Tired of that washer walking out the door and having to dry a load 2 or 3 times? It's time for a new washer and dryer. Pick from brands like Maytag, GE, Whirlpool, Electrolux, and of course, Speed Queen. Try the new 2-in-1 GE Profile that washes and dries a load all in one machine. Visit the interactive location in Lacey Springs where you can try the washers and dryers before you buy them. Owen Home Appliance Center. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service. It's in the name, Owen Home Appliance Center.
From Coleman to Fayetteville and all points in between.
Son, pull the hammer back. Smokey's coming at you in a plain white wrapper.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball. Short time left here in hour one. Let's go out to the phone lines as we come back from break. Jason is with us. Good morning, Jason.
Morning.
Hey, Scott and Drew, Jay.
Oh, hey, what's up, Jay? Hey, what's up, Jay Vassar? How are you, man?
Good, brother. Talking about the Masters, the bib numbers that the caddies wear. Harry was wearing 81, and Bryson's caddy was wearing 89. 89 has won 3 Masters. 81 had never won one until yesterday.
Wow. Just like the 4 double bogeys, man. He made some history yesterday, dude.
And Drew, it could have been a 5th one on number 11. If that ball had been 6 inches more to the left, it would have rolled right down in that water where Bryson doubled the same hole at the same time. But
right.
He was 6 inches short of rolling in there. That could have been another double. But I'm so happy for Rory, and they said the difference between Tiger's happenings in 08 to when he last won his Masters was 11 years. And there you go, 11 years.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because the bib numbers there at the Masters, they're just assigned in by check-in order. So it's kind of a random – it's kind of a random thing that one got 81 and one got 89. It's kind of funny how that works sometimes.
And Drill, I'm anxious to hear you and Nick talk about the breakdown of the practice Saturday. I know you went. Can you give a little synopsis of what you thought and how things went?
Yeah, I'll do that in the second hour. I mean, it's kind of hard to discern a whole lot from a practice, and that's exactly what it was. There was just a little bit of 11 on 11 and 7 on 7. It was, it was thudding, no tackling. It's just hard to take a ton out of a practice.
Right.
And Auburn did the same thing. Alabama and Auburn pretty much mirrored each other and what they were trying to do. But again, I do think that they had a good spring. I do think they didn't have any significant injuries like when they had Jalen Hill get hurt last year, and that was early in spring practice and came Kalen DeBoer's first one. But again, we'll talk about that in the second hour. But yeah, I mean, I thought there were some bright spots there. Certainly, there was some struggles from the quarterback position, especially the two young guys, Austin Mack and Keelan Russell. But I think they also had some bright moments. I think Ty proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that this spring that he's the number one guy. And it's interesting, you've already heard us talking about Nico Iamaleava. All these, I'm glad the SEC passed the football rule where they don't allow you to transfer within the league, because I think there'd be a lot of tampering with people trying to snag players, from schools within the conference. Because especially in the SEC, you recruit a lot of the same kids, and so Tennessee needs a QB, and that's certainly when this portal, I think they open on Wednesday.
Right.
That's certainly what you're going to see Tennessee go after, because right now they just have a redshirt freshman and a true freshman.
That brings up a question. That brings up a great question for hour number 2 in regards to Tennessee and the transfer portal as far as quarterbacks go. Jay, anything else, bud?
No, y'all have a great rest of the day. We'll talk to you soon.
All right,
Thanks,
Jay.
Appreciate you holding
thanks
in.
for the phone call there. We are indeed about ready to wrap up hour number 1. Coming up in hour number 2, Nick Kelly will join us. We will kind of rehash what Drew and what Nick saw Saturday. I keep wanting to say yesterday. What they saw on Saturday.
Right.
There inside Tuscaloosa. We will check in with Hugh Freeze. He gives us his update on Auburn as they wrapped up their spring on Saturday as well. We'll check in with Hugh Freeze. Plus, we got college basketball news and notes.
Yeah,
we got 60 more minutes of the show left. We've only just begun to talk sports.
And then our last Masters, a little tidbit. According to Darren Ravel, business reporter for ESPN, we talked about Ludwig Oberg and how good he is. But wow, on that last hole on 18, he triple bogeyed, cost him $514,500. Wow.
Can you putt for $500,000?
Sure,
my hands would be shaking.
I mean, I know that tax would take out a lot of that, but I'd love to have some of it.
I'd love to have a shot just to have a shot.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's get a break in. Hour 2 next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. AI-powered betting models to help you make sharper picks during March Madness. Free 7-day trial available now at rhythm.com. That's RITHMM.com.
Grant Holmes on the hill for the Atlanta Braves today at the Rogers Center in Toronto against the Blue Jays, and Easton Lucas minus 115, 8.5 over the total. Atlanta 4-11 on the year, just 1-9 away from home. Kyle Larson wins the Food City 500 at Bristol for his second win of the season. He's 3-1 with the NASCAR Cup Series title. Christopher Bell plus 450. Denny Hamlin 6-1 to take the championship. Up next, April 27th, Talladega Jack Links 500. Rory McIlroy wins the Masters this week. It's the RBC Heritage. Scotty Scheffler is a plus 350 favorite. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. Their locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It is hour 2 of Talking Ball live from Bill Penney Toyota on a Monday morning. Their doors open at 7 a.m. They close at 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday. Get your vehicle serviced here at Bill Penney Toyota. And if your body needs serviced, if you got some aches and pains, you can head on over to Sportsman Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center. They're dedicated to providing care that improves lives. You can get a hold of them at 256-881-5151 to experience that sports med difference. So the question that I had with Tennessee, we were talking Tennessee football, and we're going to get to the Alabama scrimmage here and Auburn scrimmage, or I guess you could say practices for their A-days here in just a minute. But Tennessee is in the market for a quarterback. They did not want to pay Nico, we say, $4 million to be under center for them. And there may have been some other things behind the scenes that led to that decision. Tennessee is going to go out, probably hit the portal. Obviously, if you're going to get a quarterback, you're going to have to go through the portal. But you're going to have to go get a quarterback. If Tennessee goes and spends $4 million on another quarterback, is that hypocritical of Tennessee to say we're not going to spend it on Nico, but we're going to spend it on somebody else?
They will not spend $4 million on a quarterback.
They won't spend $4.
No, hell no.
Okay. So they'll,
and hopefully nobody else will spend it on Nico either, because the SOB doesn't deserve it. He's overrated. He's not that good. Period. End of story. I wouldn't touch him. And I don't think Oregon will. I've heard some people saying that Dan Lanning's not going to call Tennessee and then recruit that kid. Okay.
Right. Well, you can count Miami out of that equation.
Yeah,
boy, I tell you what,
Mario
Cristobal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did he? Here is, and we have got Mario Cristobal. Boy, a lot of guys. We mentioned college football coaches all over the country have chimed in and jumped in on this, and they have. Mario Cristobal was the latest. I thought we had it here. He was the latest to jump in on the Nico conversation. And Mario, here is Mario Cristobal talking about, hey, basically sending a message to his players, but then sending a message to everybody going forward.
We're not going to do that at Miami. Say that without any hesitation. You know, if anyone's thinking that, they could be the best player in the world. They want Miami to become that. Too many guys have sweated, bled, and have laid on the line on that field to ever become that kind of player.
Saying that if they want to play holdout, they might as well get out because they're not going to play that there at Miami.
I agree with the same thing. You agree to a contract, and you enroll in school, then it's over with. You either play, or you get the hell out of here, that's what you have to start doing with some of these people. You know what I'm saying? And then some of the money may dry up. You know what I'm saying? Because these coaches don't want to put up with it. You know, there's a lot of fish in the sea out there. There's a lot of people with Nico Iamaleava's stats. Okay, maybe he needs to go play volleyball. Heard that was his best sport anyway. So maybe you need to go try to turn pro in that instead of thinking you're going to revolutionize the quarterback position. Because I can tell you right now, you ain't no Bryce Young or Tua Tagovailoa or even a Hendon Hooker. You weren't even as good as he was, pal. And so going in and asking for more money, get the hell out of here. That's what like I said, I agree totally with Josh Pate. The first time that happened in the middle of the season, if I'm Josh Heupel, get your ass on the bench.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're not that good anyway. I'm not putting up with it. Get out of here.
Well,
bye.
And the reason why a lot of people are applauding this because it sends a message to your locker room that nobody is above, you know, the program itself.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
you're not. And you're sure as hell not worth $4 million. I mean, You didn't lead in the country in passing. You didn't lead. Of course, they're going to blame the coach, but that's fine. Blame the coach. That's the country we live in right now, and that's why the country's been in the toilet for 4 years, because you're blaming everybody else and not yourself because you're not good enough, and because probably people have been telling you how good you are your whole life, not been pushing you. You haven't been being developed, and again, like I said, you're not that good. Nico came in with a ton of, with pomp and circumstance. He was supposed to be the best quarterback at Tennessee since Peyton Manning. Well, guess what? He sure as heck wasn't. Matter of fact, the guy that preceded him, Hendon Hooker, to me still is, and you could argue that Joe Milton had better stats. Nico Iamaleava last year on 4th down ran out of bounds. I guess that was the Arkansas game,
right,
where he runs out of bounds and he doesn't even get the playoff. Are you kidding me? You can't. That's your quarterback acumen. You can't. You run out of bounds instead of giving your team a chance to win. What's the matter, pal? You afraid you're going to get hit and you might get hurt or something? And I know he did get banged up in a few games, but I'm sorry, but Nico Iamaleava, he ain't it, man. And I don't blame Tennessee at all for telling him to go fly a kite, because there'll probably be a quarterback now in the portal that would like to play at Tennessee, that understands you can make $2 million to $2.4 million. The kid was getting paid plenty of money, but I still say part of that money grab too was because they weren't happy at Tennessee and didn't want to be there. I hope he goes to UCLA, because UCLA sucks. They'd be perfect for one another. Go over there and go 7-5 and make $2.5 million. That'd be fine with me.
256-576.
But any of these other schools, I'm not meeting a $4 million price tag for that clown.
Well, think about this. And Chase Daniel put this out. Chase Daniel, obviously, he played in the NFL. He's from Missouri. And Chase Daniel just kind of letting us know, kind of reminding this. Let's put this in perspective here. Brock Purdy played in the NFL. Brock Purdy has made $2.8 million, just a little over $2.8 million in his 3 years with San Francisco. He finished 4th in the MVP voting and led his team to the Super Bowl and NFC championship games. Brock Purdy has $2.8 million in the NFL. Nico wanted $4 million for this season to play college football.
Yeah, I know.
Just kind of let that marinate here for just a minute.
It's stupid, and it makes about as much sense, and the NFL had to fix it. It was when they used to pay the Sam Bradfords and the Jamarcus Russells more money than anybody on their football team when they were rookies.
Right.
And you hadn't done squat.
Right.
And, of course, the veterans were mad about it. Why wouldn't you be if you'd made 3 or 4 or 5 Pro Bowls and you were considered the best player on the team? And then they're giving some maggot rookie who may come in here and drink the purple drink and be fat and can't handle the pressure and doesn't produce. Bradford was an okay player, but Jamarcus Russell is one of the biggest flops in the history of pro football.
The NFL got it figured out. College football needs to figure it out.
Yeah, college football is going to have to figure it out, because there's no way kids like Nico Iamaleava need to be making $4 million a year playing college football. They bring in millions for the school. I get that. But $4 million for a kid in college, that is absolutely asinine. That's not what NIL and what this was made to be. We wanted the players to be compensated, but not like this. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous. Okay.
All right, let's get to Pat from Tuscaloosa on the phone lines. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, guys. Are we on yet?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey, good morning. First off, I just wanted to talk about how pitiful the Golden Flake A-Day was.
Overall, it really was, Pat. I mean, that's what I was kind of trying to explain at the end of the hour. I mean, you can't discern a whole lot. I mean, I'm sure you were there too, but you're sitting there watching a practice. It's very difficult, that kind of practice, to make any kind of judgments on anything.
Yeah, exactly. But what I want to call about is Keon Russell in the last scrimmage, and that has more interceptions than he had his whole senior year.
Yeah, I mean, he hit a little bit of a wall. I heard he threw a couple of picks in the last scrimmage, and he certainly threw some in the practice on Saturday. He was not great. Also, I can tell you, watching the practice on Saturday, that Austin Mack, he threw a couple. Now, I thought he had some wow throws too. I thought he had the most wow throws because he's big and he can push the ball down the field, but he made some mistakes. I thought Ty was the most consistent, if you want to call it that, 7-on-7, 11-on-11. I thought he looked like the starting quarterback. That shouldn't be a shock to anyone. As I'm kind of, Pat and I are talking here and I'm giving my take, but I thought that, the QBs, it was up and down, but I thought Ty was the most consistent. And I thought, that Austin Mack and Keelan Russell struggled a little bit.
But Keelan Russell, I mean, you would almost expect him to struggle. I mean, we're only talking 4 months out of high school. I mean, December, probably you graduate, December, January, February, March, April, you're in a college program for less than 4 months. I mean, that is a huge adjustment for a lot of freshmen. And there's not too many freshmen that can come in 3 months and 4 months and adjust to the speed pretty fast.
Well, perhaps these D-backs are a little better than what we thought.
The DBs, that's the most loaded part of the football team. I said that earlier, Pat. That's another thing, too, you got to look at. The defensive backfield, it was the biggest question going into last year. But based on what they have returning, what they've recruited, they are loaded back there in the defensive backfield, no question.
Yes. And the guy said, Tennessee needs to get rid of it. How was Tennessee so stupid? I mean, it couldn't have happened to a better group of people to me because they're so arrogant up there. They still have a whole bunch of their following like Penn Stud that are more money than brains. And Tennessee, just a few years ago, was complaining they didn't have any money for this and didn't have any money for that and blah, blah, blah. And it, like I said, how can you pay that much money for somebody still in high school that has not shown anything, hadn't really won the Elite 11, nothing like that? Come on.
Well, I agree. I mean, I remember when it was announced what the deal they were signing him to, which was very, very lucrative. I mean, it was tremendous. I mean, you heard about it, but I think it averaged out over the 4 years of his time at Tennessee if he stayed there for $2 million a year. So I don't understand why you're going back for more money just because you have a little bit of success. That's asinine. If you agree to that contract out of high school, that's what you're getting paid, dude.
Right.
I mean, there's no way, all of a sudden I threw 3 touchdowns against Arkansas, so, come back and give me a $300,000. Shut up. Get out of my office. Get out of my office and get your ass on the bus and get out of here. That's basically what you should be telling these people.
And that's what Tennessee did.
The trouble is they've already spent too much money on a non-productive quarterback.
Well, here's the thing, Pat. Here's the thing that you have to understand, though. That contract, Scott kind of mentioned it in the first hour, it's really not
doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything.
I pretty much can guarantee you they hadn't paid him the $8 million.
No,
they're just going to stop paying him. Whatever they were paying him monthly, whatever he was getting, you just don't get a dime now. And that's how it works both ways. Like, I can tell you to get out of here, call the collective, and they're going to cut your check off. You're not getting paid.
Well, it's kind of like Jalen Milroe, though.
Yeah.
You guys understand when he goes to the West Coast, if he gets $2 million.
Oh, they were talking about that too. You're right.
$1 million goes to taxes, and you're on starvation wages. You can't buy a house in Southern California for $1 million. Come on.
It goes a lot further in the South. You're right about that.
And I'll just say this, and this is, and Josh Pate alluded to it when he did his show yesterday. Now, he waited till the end of the Masters, respectfully, but after his show, and he even mentioned it too, that look, there are so many of these college kids that get these big bright eyes because they know they're going to get some money, and they're so excited because you're going to get $2 million, you're going to get $1.5 million, you're going to get whatever it is. And there's people out there, and we've talked about it on this show, there's people out there that have no business, and I mean no business, representing anybody, giving advice whatsoever. There's people out there that are just sharks, and they just want a piece of the pie. That's all they're there for. They have no business representing these kids, but these kids are putting their faith in these individuals to get these deals done. Yeah. And part of me feels bad for the kids, but part of me doesn't, because do your homework. and figure out if these guys are actually legit. And I think in Nico's case, he's got people in his corner, a la his father and his family, that are taking him down the wrong road.
There's a bunch of those.
A rabbit hole. Guys, have a blessed day. Thank you
Pat.
for taking my call.
And I said this last night. Can you imagine Nalu Tungavailoa coming along now? Nick, I think that would have driven Nick Saban maybe out of coaching back in those days, because he would have been coming back 2 and 3 times over. As soon as his son started lighting it up, Lord, give me a break. As big.
Do you think Georgia went through that same thing with Carson Beck?
Well, I think by the end, when Carson Beck decided to shop himself, Kirby and Georgia were like, no. We paid you. You had a good, not great year. We're sure as hell not going to pay what Miami's paying, but we're not going to meet that price, and you can move on, and we're going to move on. And I think that's what they did. And quite frankly, Beck was not good last year. He was pretty good to decent, wasn't great. But I will say this: Mario is already paying a quarterback about like what Maliava wants, and at least if you believe the terms. And that's probably kind of what Nico's family was doing. They're gauging the market, some of the things they read and hear, and they think their son's supposed to be the highest paid quarterback in college football, which is asinine. But they're going to try to see if they can get that. And then sometimes you overplay your hand, and then the coach can just say adios. And from what I understand, and I don't blame them, Tennessee's taken down every image of the kid.
No, they did. They've taken, they've stripped the walls of any paint or pictures, and
nobody will fondly remember him if he plays against Tennessee. If they break his ribs, I'm not gonna cry about it. I hope they knock him out of the game, because it's a physical, tough game, and you want to turn your back on a team, you play against them again, break his jaw.
Yeah, and that's the picture that he's being painted in. He's being painted as the individual that turned his back on his team, that left his team and thought he was greater than anybody on that team. That's the picture that he's being painted right now. He's being painted as a villain.
And then I'm not saying play dirty football.
No.
I'm just saying knock the piss out of him.
Right. Because he's being painted as the villain in all of this.
And he should be. He and his family should be. Tennessee paid him well. And I'm not a Tennessee guy. Everybody knows that. But Tennessee, he was well compensated by the Vols. They did a lot for he and his family.
Right.
And so for them to pull that, and again, I hear people all the time, well, it's not on the kid. It's not blah, blah,
That's
blah.
what I was going to say, though. On the flip side, though, is this a college football is Nico just taking
like
advantage?
A nice kid, but there's some people taking advantage of him. But
but is he taking advantage of college football? That's the problem, right?
They're
the ultimate problem.
He and his family are, and so. And honestly, I know Nico seemed like a nice kid, a quiet kid.
Yeah.
But again, he's allowing the people around him to do that. So, with he and his family, whatever, like let them move on, see if somebody else will pay them. But if I'm another school, I already know how he's handled things, and I'm not. Not.
Can we waive it? Can we waive it?
Red flag. Again, like you don't want to. Sorry, everybody. You don't want to, it's tough to bring him into your locker room.
Right.
And then he's already pulled this stunt with Tennessee. Like if he goes out and throws 3 touchdowns, he's going to come back in your office or his agent's going to call you, well, hey, I need more money. I mean, come on, man, this is ridiculous. But I will say this, schools are just going to have to start, putting their foot down. This is the way we're going to handle it. You're not going to come back for more money. And if you want to, then you're done. You know what I'm saying? So, and then we'll see. There'll be some kids that end up hurting themselves. So, and this kid may have hurt himself. We'll see. He'll still get a nice offer, but I certainly wouldn't meet that $4 million price, especially for how good he is. This is not. I mean, you look at Cam Ward and how he enhanced himself going from Washington State to Miami. He certainly helped himself, but DJ Uiagalelei for a Cam Ward, there's a DJ Uiagalelei. Who, to me, after a very promising beginning of his career at Clemson, he hit the ceiling and he wasn't very good.
Right.
We all know what he did at Florida State last year. So that's the fear you have going out there is these quarterbacks. I've seen a lot of 5-star quarterbacks that didn't pan out, And so to me, it's you and the people around you need to make better decisions. The NFL is the true holy grail. Okay. That's where you're going to make your money. But are you confident or are you scared? You know what I'm saying? Are you scared all of a sudden? Maybe my son's not the next first pick in the NFL draft. I don't know, man, but I'm just saying it's a slippery slope you take
right
when you start moving around like Iamaleava is. But I still say the majority of it was a couple of things. A, he didn't get along with Heupel, didn't really like what was going on in the program at Tennessee from his development standpoint. And then I just think overall, I think they wanted to be back on the West Coast.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll check in with Hugh Freeze and start recapping what Alabama went through on their final scrimmage as well as Auburn. It's all coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Sounds like we've got a motorcycle-involved accident. Highway 67 near Priceville. They may auto-launch a helicopter on that one. Got a wreck indicator, First Avenue and Lee Street. And looks like they've cleared that one southbound on 53 at Douglas. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. Ask about their military, law enforcement, and senior discounts. D&L 256-652. 1207, state license 08091. Captain Eck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Never miss 1 second of Charger baseball with the Charger Zone.
And he is just absolutely parked one. I don't believe the left fielder or the center fielder for AUM even moved.
Only on 97.7 ESPN.com and the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app.
All right, 8:24 on a Monday morning. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. We've been talking college football. The Auburn Tigers wrapped up spring, and they did it fast with like 2 weeks or whatever. I mean, just a little over 2 weeks, 15 practices done with. And they wrapped it up with their A-Day yesterday, which was pretty much a practice setting for the fans. Afterwards, Hugh Freeze on Saturday talking about the roster, the way it is, and how he's been able to build it, but has it been built enough for success?
You have to have top 10 recruiting classes in this
league to form an elite roster. And I felt like we could do that at Auburn, and we have in the 2 recruiting classes we've had, and the roster therefore looks different. And I thought it would take 3 to really have the roster to where it rivals those of the elite in this conference, and that's probably still accurate. But I do feel optimistic that with the 2 we've had, we can compete, should compete this year, and so it does look different. So let's go line up and see what we got.
There you go. Hugh Freeze talking about, again, alluding to the fact that the roster was depleted upon arrival. They've managed to have a couple top 10 recruiting classes. Feels like it's getting better. Feels like it's gotten better. May not be enough, but it feels like he's getting ready to compete. And for Hugh Freeze, he's going to have to compete.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's had 2 straight subpar years, but a lot of that was due to, as he referenced, the roster not being up to par. Certainly, he's had 2 straight top 10 recruiting classes and brought in some big-time talent. And sounds like a lot of those guys, like when he's young quarterback in this year's class out of Mississippi, Deuce Knight, they flipped him from Notre Dame. Sounds like the lefty had a pretty nice workout. Sounds like a sophomore like Perry Thompson, who really didn't do a whole lot last year, out of Foley High School. Sounds like he had a really good scrimmage, or
practice.
I'm so used to calling it.
Yes.
Practice.
Yes.
Talking about practice. But
Jackson Arnold did not go through the visible stuff. He had a little hamstring,
injury.
so a precautionary thing. They held him out.
And I was asked about that from the Alabama perspective, because in any scrimmage, you basically didn't see very much of Ryan Williams. And I think they thought he was a little nicked up, so they let him
practice.
Just watch it and not go through the scrimmages. They know what they have in him. And don't forget, last year, Alabama lost Jalen Hale, as I mentioned earlier. So they don't want to lose anybody for the season.
Right. So
and Auburn, they held out a couple. Connor Liu, who had an off-season surgery, their starting center, one of their starting offensive tackles, did not see action in the spring. So they're just trying to be in Xavier Chaplin. They're trying to be cautious, because you want to have as many guys available as possible for the season. And with the depth situations in the transfer portal, losing somebody in the spring can be very detrimental.
So Alabama, they go through, was it an hour and a half practice?
About an hour and a half.
Ryan Grubb, did you get a sense? Could you get a sense of anything offensively with Ryan Grubb being there as the coordinator?
Well, I mean, certainly the one thing I have been able to discern from talking to people is when he gets, I've heard he's very, let's put it, the way it was put when he was hired was Kalen DeBoer would be the good cop, he would be the bad cop. I have heard that he gets after it. And in some cases, he gets after it to the point that Nick Saban would blush. And that should make you really raise your antenna there. Okay. Because Nick Saban's had some rants to the media and rants that you've seen from practice that would make anybody stand at attention. So, So in other words, I'm saying that no question that Ryan Grubb can go full metal jacket on some people. So there you go. And he's going to get after the players, hold them accountable, which is, I think, what you need. I know they're getting paid, but again, so are these coaches. These kids need to be held accountable, and certainly, hopefully, his expertise and he and Kalen DeBoer's chemistry are going to help this quarterback room and this offense. Certainly, Nick Sheridan is still going to be coaching these QBs as well, and Nick is more of a cerebral guy. So we'll see. Certainly, I think it's been a productive spring for Alabama. I'm not going to get too bothered by Austin Mack making some mistakes against what I think is a very talented secondary, and then Keelan Russell kind of hitting the wall at the end, because I've seen guys make a huge jump. I still think he's a special talent, Keelan Russell.
Right.
And in the scrimmage, on this past Thursday, I heard he got off to a really good start, then threw those picks, but he's growing as a player.
There's going to be an adjustment period.
And I think Alabama's roster, especially defensively, has a chance to be really good. So, again, you don't want to take too much out of it, but I think both Alabama and Auburn got out of spring what they put into it. I think neither one of them lost someone to injury that, is going to shock them, and certainly we'll see what happens in the portal. I still think Alabama needs to address blocking tight end because they, as I've already said, they basically had 2 walk-ons by the end of spring, so they need to bring in a kid and probably need to address punter as well. So it's going to be an interesting, next few weeks.
All right, we got to get a break in. Nick Kelly was there as well on Saturday for Alabama's practice. It is so weird just to say really A-day practice, not scrimmage. We'll get his thoughts. Plus, their Alabama basketball subtraction. We know where a few of those guys are headed, and we'll just get Nick Kelly's thoughts on who's all coming in for Nate Oates. Nick Kelly going to join us after this break.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. Plenty of sunshine is to be expected. High temperature is going to continue to warm. It looks like we'll see the low 80s heading into late Monday night, early Tuesday morning. We'll see a round of rain showers move through. We'll be seeing plenty of sunshine for Tuesday. High temperatures warming into the mid and upper 60s for the afternoon. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID, and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. At Newmarket, Jefferson's will be opening a new location at 2190 County Road 65 very soon. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. Hampton Cove, and soon in Newmarket.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penney Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penney perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penney Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penney Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPenneyToyota.com. Bill Penney's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Online at 977ESPN.com.
Stream them online.
Call in.
It's an important job, and it's an fighting organization.
Tweet in and join in. We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. We've been talking here in hour number 2 about the state of college football and everything going on in Knoxville. But on Saturday, inside Bryant-Denny Stadium on Nick Saban Field, you've got to get all that in there now.
Right.
Alabama going through, it was A-Day. They went through a practice rather than the traditional A-Day scrimmage. So what do you take away? What can you take away? Well, you do get a look at some of the new players. You do get your first, for a lot of fans, it was their first look at Keon Russell in an Alabama uniform. You didn't get to see him play like in a game setting, but you got to see him in an Alabama uniform, and you got to see some other guys spin the ball out there as well.
You did, and we're going to go to our next guest. He does a great job covering the University of Alabama for AL.com, and I'm going to let him give his observations and thoughts as he was there. It was great to see him at Bryant-Denny Stadium, and as he said, we'll see you in September. This will be the last time the media is allowed in to Bryant-Denny Stadium until the home opener. And of course, they will see them the week before in Tallahassee at Florida State. But it was a very interesting offseason and an interesting spring practice going into year 2 for Kalen DeBoer. And Nick Kelly is going to give us his thoughts on that and the ever world turning with Nate Oates and the Alabama basketball team, which just finished playing 2 weeks ago, but it already seems like 3 months ago with the way the portal turns. But Nick, good morning, and we appreciate your time. How are you?
Good morning, guys. I'm doing well. Yourselves?
Doing well. And what did you take from practice, as Allen Iverson would say, sir?
Yeah, it was certainly a practice. I mean, we saw a little bit more, maybe 11 on 11 than I thought we would even,
right,
to be honest with you. But still not a game setting. But I think to me, of course, was watching the quarterbacks to see how they would look in person, how they would do. And I'm no QB guru or some huge expert, X's and O's expert, but I'll say this. I think we saw some inconsistency from Austin Mack and Keelan Russell. Saw some good things, saw some not so good things, namely interceptions, to name one big not so good thing. And Ty Simpson didn't necessarily flash a ton, but he also didn't make mistakes, at least to the naked eye. So to me, it was more of a case of, okay, you can see the potential with guys like Austin Mack and Keelan Russell, especially Keelan, but Ty might make sense as the guy at this juncture just because he's more consistent and you can maybe trust him a little bit more at this point. Now, we're a long ways away, as you guys talked about, from the season opener. So a lot can happen. And Keelan Russell, I mean, he's only been in Tuscaloosa a few months. So it's not surprising to see him be a little inconsistent. Now, it would almost be more surprising if he was lights out and didn't have some inconsistency, even though he's super talented. So to me, that was maybe the biggest takeaway I had. But also we had a chance to see some younger guys and some new guys flash a little bit. And it wasn't very conducive to seeing maybe more work in the trenches or seeing how guys tackle, how guys play on defense, because there was no tackling. And there wasn't really much of a chance to see, okay, how's this running back going to look? Because they weren't tackling them. They weren't really actually having to break off tackles. So it wasn't really a good opportunity for that. But I thought it was a good opportunity to see like skill players, defensive backs, guys like that. And there were several young DBs who stood out.
Yeah, and Nick, we've had a couple people even talk to us about it too, and Drew even alluded to it earlier in the show that defensive back position is probably where the riches are at for Alabama right now.
Yeah, you talk about some battles between the receivers and the DBs right now, because to me those are the two strongest units on each respective side of the ball. You have the receiver group that's incredibly deep. You've got elite talent at the top, Ron Williams, who had an insane autograph line, by the way, at Heyday, I should say.
That was insane.
And he didn't even participate. I mean, I talked to some people who have been around a long time to see if there's ever a line that they could think of compared to that. And we're talking people who've seen Tua and Derrick Henry and guys like that, and they said they cannot remember. I mean, the line literally, guys, went to the opposite sideline, came all the way back around and almost touched the sideline where Ryan was again. I mean, I counted at least 230 people in the line at one time.
How many got through? That's 45 minutes, by the way. Did they all get through?
I don't know. I left toward the end of it, but I do know they brought in Ellis Ponder, who's a veteran that's helping a celebrity as Nick Saban's right-hand man. They did bring him over, and he was trying to keep the line moving along to help be a little bit more efficient. But anyway, back to the receivers. The receivers, to me, are the best group on offense, could be the best group on the team overall, because you have that young freshman talent in Latsir Brooks and Derek Meadows. They both flash in the game, or in the practice, I should say. Got to catch myself, guys. It's hard not to say A-Day game. But then you have
we've been there all morning.
You have guys like Jeremy Bernard, who's a veteran. You've got Isaiah Horton, who they brought in, who already showed made a nice catch on a pass from Jeremy Bernard, actually. And so you've got it. They're stacked there. And you have them going against a defensive back group that has, again, veteran talent. Demai Jackson's not all spring, but we know what he can do. You got Xavier Brown, who he showed last year as a freshman. He's a young elite talent. He's back for another year. He's going to likely start at cornerback again. Then you add a guy like Dejon Lee, who's a 5-star freshman cornerback who is 6'4". I mean, he's got ridiculous length. And then you've also got you bring Cam Calhoun from Utah at cornerback. And then at safety, you've got Bray Hubbard, you've got Zay Mincy, and then you'll get Keon Sabb back in the fall. So, you just talk about two stacked positions going head to head, and it's not hard to think that those are the two best on the team.
And see, one of the first picks that I saw during the practice was Ivan Taylor, and he's another one at safety. I mean, I just think, Nick, I said this in the first hour, and you followed this team since Kalen got there. The secondary was the biggest question going into last year, and maybe the biggest strength now with all the recruiting they've done in the portal and high school ranks.
Yeah, they completely flipped it. And it wasn't surprising that they lost so many guys, because how many of those guys came because you get to have Nick Saban coach you? Not just as your head coach, but he was the DB's coach, right? I mean, that was his bread and butter. And so we saw a lot of guys leave. And, of course, part of it was Kool-Aid and Terran both went to the drafts. So you lost your two starters at cornerback to the NFL. So that didn't help. But then you lost other guys too. But then Maurice Linguist, the defensive backs coach, he deserves a lot of credit. Great recruiter, great coach. And you can see guys buying in to want to play for him and really enjoy playing for him in that secondary. And so I think he's been a big difference in rebuilding this secondary that they have now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then you mentioned the quarterback position, you mentioned wide receivers. Any other guys kind of stand out to you during the time? I know one of the positions most affected by injury and transferring is tight end. Peter Knudsen, we saw him, number 86. Not a lot of numbers, though, at the tight end spot right now for Alabama.
No, that depth was pretty much shot for the 8-day practice. But I think they'll get some of those guys back, and you get Clavis back, you get Danny Lewis back. And I mean, maybe you look to the portal to add a little bit more depth there just because they are so thin. But to me, I think they just need to get some of those guys healthy, and then they'll be in fine shape.
Well, and Nick, you kind of alluded to it, because of the practice, Alabama was shorthanded going into spring along the trenches, especially on that offensive line, especially on the defensive line. But what have we been able to decipher from the scrimmages and everything that says, okay, these are some of the young guys that may have stood out during this entire spring?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, Latsier Brooks, I referenced him before, but I think he's the easy one to point to. And I was real curious to see him work on Saturday, and he impressed. I mean, he's shifty. He can make quick breaks, just really a tough cover. And he's just a freshman, and he wasn't necessarily a highly touted guy, but talk about a great find by the staff. I mean, I think he's going to have a chance to contribute pretty early as a freshman and see what he can do. Of course, it's a tough position, again, because of how many guys they have at receiver. But, I mean, I'm watching him more than anyone, I think, right now, guys, just to see how he progresses and to see if he can build on this really strong spring, because he has stood out. Otherwise, I mean, I kind of mentioned a few of the main guys I've heard or seen that have really caught people's attention. I think Bray Hubbard could have a really special season. He's not a young guy per se, but I think that we saw him start to come on the scene late last year. Pleasant surprise, I think, for the staff. And I think he's just going to continue building on that. It would not surprise me if he has maybe, dare I say, an all-SEC year. And then you pair that with Keon Sabb, assuming he comes back healthy and plays like he can. CJ Dupree, who, tight end, who has gone out for the draft this year, he told me that Keon Sabb might be the toughest defender he's faced in practice ever. So, I mean, again, I know that you're asking for new guys, but to me, I'm really intrigued to watch that safety position.
Well, because we only really saw Sabb for half the year. He was gone after the Tennessee game, and people kind of forget the plays he was making early. And then when you're a transfer like he was, you're just starting to get your feet underneath you. So this will be his first full year, hopefully healthy. And then we saw Bray Hubbard take advantage of the opportunity. I thought Bray Hubbard was one of the biggest stories on the defense the second half of the year, the way he played and continued to get better, Nick.
Yeah, talk about turning a corner. I mean, I really wasn't sure that he was going to turn into what he did. And I wasn't sure that Alabama would be able to turn him into a starter or not. And he worked hard, and next thing you know, he's not just a starter, but he's doing really well. I mean, I was legitimately worried for Alabama's defense when Keon Sabb went out and they had to put Bray Hubbard in. And he shined. He surprised me, and he played really well. And I think the staff really was impressed by it too.
Absolutely. And then now as we switch gears, I know you've had your ear to the ground basketball wise. We saw some more portal news. I know you continued to report about the Mo Diabate, Jaron Stevenson, Darian Reed dynamic. I think the thought originally was one of the three would be back. I certainly thought it would be Mo Diabate right after the season started, yet he was the first one that departed. Then we saw Jaron Stevenson go back home to North Carolina, and now we've seen Darian Reed go into the portal.
Yeah, like you said, Drew, I really thought they'd keep at least one of those three, if not two, maybe. I mean, I was more so thinking one, but yeah, it's the way the portal shakes out and the way that it goes when, okay, you have a guy who, in Mo Diabate, who's got some things that help teams win games. And I think that you see a team like Kentucky that there's an opportunity there for, him to go play. And frankly, you can see that Kentucky's been big spenders in the portal, and they've really gone after it. And at a certain point, I think Alabama would have loved to have Mo Diabate back, but I think just it made sense for maybe the price point for him to go to Kentucky. It's probably the best way to put it. It would have been nice to have back, but in a certain way, I don't know if he would have been a starter, and maybe he wanted to be a starter. So it might not have made sense for his vision and Alabama's vision for him. And so, guys move on, and they split up, so to speak. Jaron Stevenson always kind of made sense to go somewhere else. But here's the thing, though, and I tweeted this yesterday, but to me, I really thought everything I heard was that Darian Reed was probably gone going in the last few weeks of the season. I mean, that was the thought. That was the sense I'd gotten, is that he probably wouldn't be back. But then once the season ended, I was getting more of a sense that, okay, he could come back. It was a possibility, more so than just him being the for sure gone guy. But after all, it worked out. Still negotiations happen. Still guys talk about it. Still guys, talk about role, what the team's going to look like. And sometimes it doesn't work out. So I think it was the case there. And I think that each side was given a fair shake, so to speak, but it just didn't work out for him to come back. And so Alabama will go to the portal to find another forward. So, that's the thing really, is that, you want to keep certain guys that are good and talented, but Alabama's proven if a guy's priced himself out, or if a guy is not fitting what you want done, or doesn't fit in the right role for you, there are a lot of guys in the portal. And not that you want to fill every single spot with a portal guy, but just basically don't get held hostage, so to speak, from a certain price point, or feel like you have to pay to keep a guy. There are certain guys that you want to do all you can to keep. I think Aiden Sherrill was frankly one of those guys. But at the end of the day, you can go backfill and get different guys in the portal. And I think that, you kind of have to stand on what you think a guy's worth, and stand on what you think his spot is on the roster.
And finally, LeBaron Philon, because to me, you mentioned Aiden Sherrill. I'd always heard Aiden Holloway, Latrell Wright, and then LeBaron Philon were kind of the core four they wanted to bring back. When will we hear something from LeBaron Philon, you think?
I'd say pretty soon. I've kind of been waiting any day for that to happen. My guess would be that he'll declare for the draft and keep his options open for college.
Right.
I really thought that he was all but gone as well to the draft, but I think the door is open for him to come back. I think it is a very much so possibility, but I think he'll go get feedback. And I think Alabama is invested in making sure that he gets good feedback, gets good advice, and doesn't have what happened to Charles Bediako happen again. Where Charles gets bad advice and goes out for the draft and doesn't get drafted. And that's still it's too bad it played out that way, because I don't think it worked out for Charles or Alabama. Alabama went to the Final Four, but they could have really used a rim protector like that. So I think that Alabama is making sure that LeBaron thinks this through, gets good advice. And the sense I get is that that's what will happen. And we'll see what happens. Maybe he gets really good feedback and he gets a guaranteed contract and he goes out, and I think Alabama will be happy for him. But if you can get him back, that'd be huge.
Well, good stuff from Nick Kelly. Thank you for coming on once again, giving us great intel to wrap up spring practice under Kellen DeBoer, and then give us a portal update. Let everybody know how to follow your work at AL.com.
Yeah, just @ Nick Kelly on X, and AL.com is where you can find us.
Appreciate you, Nick.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right, let's get that final break in. We'll wrap up this Monday edition next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Looks like they have canceled Himsey on that wreck, Winchester and Moore's Mill. That one originally reported as an injury type. Jeff Road, Carter's Gin Road came in as a no injury. Had 67 near Somerville and Morgan County. Motorcycle involved in that one. They launched a medical helicopter. One in Decatur, First Avenue and Lee Street near the courthouse. I think one of them ended up in the courthouse parking lot there. That one did report as an injury type. Have you tried numerous weight loss plans and nothing seems to work? Your hormones could be the problem. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com. Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. At Newmarket, Jefferson's will be opening a new location at 2190 County Road 65 very soon. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. Hampton Cove and soon in Newmarket.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome back into the program. We're getting ready to close out our Monday morning. Your tomorrow's headlines today, just kind of making sure we got this. Alabama and Auburn baseball. Alabama drops that series to Mississippi State over the weekend. Auburn, for the first time in a long time, sweeps LSU on the baseball diamond. And so that's your baseball news. And then we now know Jakari Lane, the outstanding point guard for North Alabama, former Lehigh General.
Yep.
We now know where he is going to finish up his college basketball career.
Yeah, I mean, he was the first commitment in the new era of Texas A&M basketball for Bucky McMillan. He visited this weekend and committed. So great opportunity for Jakari Lane and the Power Four in the SEC to play his last year of eligibility at Texas A&M for Bucky in a system that should be perfectly suited to his skill set as a point guard. Certainly it's a guard-friendly offense and the way they press and attack. And really happy for Jakari Lane to be able to go to play for Bucky in College Station, Texas. That broke this weekend. And then late yesterday, it looks as though our Ephraim Butta Johnson, who played for Jack Doss at Grissom, that he may have found his new home for his last year of eligibility. He played 3 years for Andy Kennedy at UAB. Now it looks like he could be playing for Brad Brownell and Clemson. And I know Portal Scoop reported that late last night. I saw the Instagram stuff and on his Twitter account, it didn't say committed though, so I wasn't sure if he had completely made his decision. I knew he was, mulling over his options, but he went on a visit, and it looks like Ephraim Butta Johnson could be matriculating to Clemson in the ACC, which would be a good program for him to play for. Brad Brownell has done a great job there at Clemson, getting that program better each and every year. And so big shout out to JD Gossett.
Yeah.
He ends up, getting out of his a letter of intent to Lipscomb. No surprise with Lenny Acuff, our good friend, moving over to Samford. Well, he went on a visit to Samford this weekend, and I don't think anyone is shocked that he and Caleb Harrison will be reuniting and both playing for, Lenny Acuff at Samford in his first year. I think, the Gossett family is very close to Lenny, wanted JD to play for him, and now that'll happen, and Caleb Harrison's decided to stay. Had some options now, both mid-major and even a Power 4 option, but Caleb Harrison deciding to stay after redshirting at Samford and play for Lenny Acuff as well. So 2 Crimson Panthers moving on to Samford.
All right, that's going to do it for these 2 hours. We're going to be back at it tomorrow. Don't forget, tonight you got the Huntsville-Madison County Athletic Hall of Fame, 12 new inductees going in there in the North Hall. Should be a fantastic night. If you're there, enjoy the night. It's going to be a fantastic one, I promise.
Ford Motor Company. From America, for America. Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford with a real quick quiz. Out of all the manufacturers